Avatar 3 is set to hit theaters in December 2025, which means we have very little time before director James Cameron returns us to Pandora. What updates have we gotten so far today on Movie Recap Pro? We dig through the latest and biggest news items. The plot for Avatar, Fire and Ash, is still under wraps, but we do have a few details to work with. For one thing, we know that this installment will introduce a new fire-based tribe to the Avatar universe. We also know that it will continue story threads first introduced in the second film in the series, Avatar, The Way of Water. At the center of these threads is the conflict between Colonel Quaritch, now in a Nausica's body, and the family of Jake and Neytiri, who are still traumatized by the death of their son, Neytiri, in Avatar, The Way of Water. Spider notes that he can only breathe Pandora's air for about 10 seconds, like the other humans. A look at the script for Fire and Ash in the Way of Water bonus features reveals that Spider will seemingly get the ability to breathe Pandoran air in the sequel. How exactly this happens is anyone's guess, although there have been theories bandied about. Considering Kiri's close connection with the planet, she might have something to do with that, but again, it's too early to say for sure how Spider gains this new power. There's also the question of how this might change or affect Quaritch, who might be getting set up for a redemption arc following his son saving his life at the end of Way of Water. In the script, he seems to have set up some sort of alliance with Jake. Per that script excerpt, there's at least one scene between Kiri and her grandmother Moat, played by CCH Pounder. The scene showcases Kiri's frustrations at not being able to connect to Iwa, otherwise known as the Great Mother. For those who may have forgotten, Iwa is the consciousness of Pandora, essentially the living embodiment of Mother Nature and of being worshipped by the Nausics. And Moat has one line that struck fans as particularly interesting in the script excerpt. She says, "I do not understand this. Why the Great Mother would save the boy, then deny you." Now, this might have something to do with the big left turn the film takes. Per Spider actor Jack Champion, it could be that his character, Spider, is saved by the Tree of Souls, and this somehow leads to him being able to breathe Pandora air. However, the term boy could really mean any male character. Given Moat's age, it could be a reference to anyone from Tuck to Quaritch, or even a new character entirely. Either way, we know that Iwa saved someone, and this leads to some confusion as to its motivations. The last thing we know, based on the script pages, is that we're to be introduced to a new character named Varu. There is the slight chance that this is actually the character Tarsem, played by Khan John, who first appeared in The Way of Water as the new leader of the Ataya clan when Jake Sully and his family chose to leave for the sake of their own safety. One life ends, another begins. Tarsem was initially named Varu, but at some point this was changed. As such, it could be that the change wasn't reflected in the script scene in the bonus features. However, this seems unlikely. The character is likely an entirely new one whom we have yet to hear any casting announcements for. Speaking of casting, next up, we have to talk about the cast. Of course, the principal cast from Way of Water is on board. That includes Sam Worthington's Jake Sully, Zoe Saldana's Neytiri, Sigourney Weaver's Kiri, Britton Dalton's Lo AK, and Trinity Jolie Bliss's Tucteri. Kiri and Lo AK are expected to have much larger roles this time around, with Lo AK in particular standing out. Cameron has said that Lo AK will take over from Jake Sully as the narrator of Avatar 3, with the subsequent films having their own narrator. This suggests that the theme of family will go deep into the workings of the franchise. Wherever we go, this family is our fortress, which could continue for decades as new members of the family take over narration duties. Outside of the main family unit, we're also, of course, expecting to see Jack Champion return as Spider, while his father Quaritch is also set to show back up, once again portrayed by Stephen Lang. As a side note, it would be very interesting to see Quaritch take over as a narrator for one of the films, if only to give us a greater understanding of what's going on in his head. I'm coming for you. When I do, I'll kill your whole family. Lang was recently quoted as jokingly saying, "By God, I've shot enough." This was in response to questions as to whether he's done with filming the Avatar franchise, for which he is supposedly the overarching villain. However, while he says that he thinks they're done, he's open to returning to New Zealand for more shooting if need be. Joel David Moore's Dr. Norm Spellman is set to return after only appearing in a small role in the second film, as is Giovanni Ribisi as Parker Selfridge, who was a notable antagonist in the first film and also appeared just briefly in the second installment. The giant whale creature, Pakin, is also set to return, although details are scarce. It's possible that the Tolkien, the species Pakin is a member of, will finally accept him as one of their own after abandoning him sometime before Avatar 2. It's explained in that film that Pakin broke the Tolkien policy of nonviolence, and for that he was exiled. It would make sense narratively for this to lead to the Tolkien clan reacquainting themselves with Pakin and perhaps even joining him in a battle to help the Nausicaa in their fight. Outside of the returning cast, we also have gotten some news about new cast members. David Thewlis has been cast as Pack, the chief of the Wind Trader clan that will be introduced in Fire and Ash. The Wind Traders are a nomadic Nausicaa clan that's been described as being similar to the camel caravans of the Spice Road back in the Middle Ages. They use massive flying airship creatures to travel, and costume designer Deborah L. Scott describes them as upbeat, happy, colorful, and when they come into our movie, everyone's excited to see them. It's like the circus is in town. Una Chaplin, meanwhile, is playing Varong, the leader of the Mquan, a fire clan of Nausicaa otherwise known as the Ash People or Ash Clan. Where the Wind Traders are meant to be a peaceful group, the Ash Clan is villainous, although just how villainous is unknown. Una Chaplin is the granddaughter of silent film star Charlie Chaplin and has credits in shows like Game of Thrones, Sherlock, and the Tom Hardy series Taboo. She has been confirmed as a new mainstay for the franchise, as she has been confirmed to appear in the next 3 movies. The clan of fire-based Nausicaa will also reportedly live in or around a volcano, something we have yet to see on Pandora. Based on new images from Empire magazine, the Mquan clan will live in a more desolate area on Pandora, where their home tree and surroundings have been reduced to ash. This seems like a pretty clear metaphor for how our characters feel following the events of Avatar, The Way of Water, and ties into the theme of grief. Aang holds all her children in her heart. Nothing is ever lost. James Cameron himself has had a few things to say about his threequel. For one, while referring to the select few people who have gotten a chance to watch the movie, he said, "It's pretty heart-wrenching in a good way, and that the feedback for the third entry has been definitely the most emotional." This might be referring to a few elements in the film, but it's likely he's speaking in regard to how Avatar, Fire and Ash will deal with grief. Cameron went on to say that Fire and Ash is the best Avatar film yet. Additionally, Cameron has reportedly chosen to include a statement at the beginning of the film. It will begin with a title card after the 20th Century and Lightstorm logos that reads, "No generative AI was used in the making of this movie." Finally, we know that the runtime of Avatar 3 will be around the same as the previous installment, which ran for 3 hours and 12 minutes. And that's about it for the latest from Avatar, Fire and Ash. Are you excited for this new addition to the Avatar franchise? Let us know in the comments, and thank you for watching Movie Recap Pro.